I just wanted to introduce just a few ways in which, and you've all been given a handout, these are just some ideas that we have about how verse novels differ from capital N novels, and how those differences might be relevant and helpful to readers who are currently underserved in terms of the types of novels that they have been exposed to. So it's really just talking about how poetry works. I've just defined it as mechanically, logistically, and thematically. So mechanically, we're looking at how poetry looks on the page, and some other aspects of poetry that might be of assistance to a reader who's struggling for some reason. So that would be rhyme, meter, alliteration, anything that is assisting them in predicting what the next word is going to be, for example, rhyme, in remembering things, using alliteration, using acrostic poems, for example. But one thing that I don't want to neglect is the appearance of verse on the page. There hasn't been a lot of research into this. One of the reasons I'm doing this panel is because I hope that people will do a little bit of research into verse novels and their use with young readers. But one of the theories about part of the cause of dyslexia is that it involves a dysfunctional scanning. And so when dyslexic readers read, they're scanning forward in the sentence, but the next part of the sentence is interfering with their comprehension of what they're actually reading at that moment. And when you look at verse on the page, you will notice that there is white space on either side of the chunk that's being read. And that seems to make a difference in the ability of someone with a reading dysfunction like dyslexia. So those are some aspects of poetry, mechanical aspects of poetry, that may appeal to readers who are struggling for some reason. Logistically, the simple fact that verse novels are short. Kids these days are very, very busy. They have a ton of homework, they're in dance, they're in soccer, and verse novels tend to be about half the length of a prose novel, but they still contain all the details, all the characters, all the plot, all the conflict, all the themes, all the issues. They're all packed in there. My book is packed full of issues. People have said there's too many issues in this book. So that's a good choice for a child who doesn't have a lot of time, a reader who doesn't have a lot of time, or a reader who reads really slowly for some reason, maybe because of one of these dysfunctions. And we've all had feedback from readers who say, oh, I read this book in an hour, I read this book in 2 hours. And that pleases them, because then they feel like their friends who are, as Tess says, the Uber readers, who can plow through Harry Potter in an afternoon. And the third thing is thematically. And verse, I think, is particularly suited for themes that are disturbing, heavy, edgy, or unfamiliar. And all the verse novelists sitting here are writing about those types of themes. And we'll give you some, hopefully if we have time we can get through everyone, some examples of how that works. And it's just presented in a lighter way, again with a lot of white space on the page. So rather than reading 3 dense pages of prose about illness or death or an unfamiliar culture where there's a lot of detail, you're reading a piece of verse which is expressing that in a more expressionistic way, and therefore allowing the reader's mind to kind of fill in at the speed that they are capable of, that's suitable for them.